A new wave of filmmaker has hit cinema. Let's talk about it right here on Beyond the Screen. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting edition of Beyond the Screen. I'm your host, Ryan, and with me, as always, is the illustrious Jake Holtzclaw. Jake, what up, man?
What's up? How are you
doing? I'm doing
turning up my mic.
Way to throw it back. He's just like, how are you, Jake? This is where you talk, and you're just like, how are you? It just doesn't say anything, just right back. This is like ping pong. Ding, ding,
I've done that before. When he's like, hey, man, how you doing? How you doing?
I'm good, man.
Just keep walking.
Yeah.
I've done that. I've done it, man. How you doing? It's like, how you doing? And just.
You ever done one of those where you're just like, and then just like.
No, you got to do the white guy smirk.
There's also like, but when you do that, and like it insinuates that you're busy. Like, so where I work, we're surrounded by yappers. So if I don't act like I'm busy, like people will just come up to me and start talking. Like, especially when I am really busy. When I'm not busy, I don't do this. But like, I've had to like start putting in headphones, so people will just like not stop me. So because if I got headphones and I'm looking like I'm answering an email on my phone or like I'm working, people will just wave and walk away, right? So yeah. I've had a lot of
carry your mixer around with your headphones plugged into them.
Yeah. Roadcaster Duo.
Running the fader, walking through the hall.
It's just off there because it's not plugged in anything. It's just that'd be sick. Actually, that'd be so funny. What are you doing? One slide smoother than the other.
I think you get your phone propped up on it and you have like a podcast on there, and you like it looks like you're running remote fader.
I just have a crazy long extension cable from another room, and I'm just doing laps. Just like through the halls, just pulling the wire farther. It is on, but it's just not doing anything.
Yep. Welcome to Beyond the Screen.
Yeah. We set up strange scenarios and do bits that probably aren't very funny. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Or relevant. Yeah, to anything we're going to be talking about. You are here for film news, and we're going to deliver. We're going to start our show, as always, with our box office news. We start every episode by going over not only how films did this past weekend, but primarily, again, at the beginning, how we did in our predictions from last week. So every week, we come back here, we keep track on our big leaderboard throughout the series, throughout the season, and at the end of the season, in March of next year, of 2027, at the 99th Oscars, or is it 98th? Whichever Oscars it is this next March.
It's 100th. I'll be there for the 100th.
Yeah, bro's just gonna dip the next 2 years. No, I think it is. I think this is the 98th. I could be wrong. It might be 99th. We will crown a winner for the box office champion. So anyway, let's talk about
the 99th.
It will be the
27th to 99th. Yeah.
Oh, so we're coming up on the 99th. We will be here for the 100th too. So stick around for the long.
That's haul. What they say.
That's what they say for Beyond.
That's the rumor.
Anyway, we make predictions. We keep track, and we crown a winner at the end of each season. So let's get into how we did this past week. Starting off with Jake, we all did about equally as terrible. Jake predicted The Mandalorian and Grogu at 1, Backrooms at 2, Michael at 3, Obsession at 4, and The Breadwinners at 5, getting 1 out of those 5 correct. I am right there behind him, getting 1 out of 5 correct, predicting The Mandalorian and Grogu at 1, Backrooms at 2, Obsession at 3, Michael at 4, and The Devil Wears Prada 2 at number 5. Emily actually predicted with us this past week. She is not on the board, as you guys can see, but she did predict Backrooms at 1, Mandalorian at 2, Obsession at 3, Michael at 4, and Devil Wears Prada 2 at number 5, also getting 1 out of 5. And then we have TJ. For those who are new, who might not know, TJ is a bot. He is Claude, and we predict against the bot. And shockingly, he also got 1 out of 5, predicting Backrooms at 1, Mandalorian and Grogu at 2, Obsession at 3, Breadwinner at 4, and Michael at 5. Our season total up to this point in the year is me and Jake are tied at 28 points apiece, still tied after Jake caught me last week, and TJ still lags behind 2 points at 26, and Emily now has 1 point. So that's where we're at, 28 to 26 to 1. You're here also to figure out how the box office went this week. So let's start at the top. Let's go back to the top. Let's go down 1 through 5 and show you Jake just got really big on his screen. I'm sorry for those who are watching on YouTube. Jake is moving around on the screen. While he does that, let's take a look 1 through 5 and tell you the correct box office top 5. Starting at number 1, you've heard about it. It is everywhere. The Backrooms by Kane Parsons finishes first, followed by Obsessions in its third weekend at number 2, holding on to that top 2 spot. The Mandalorian and Grogu takes a catastrophic tumble, falling to third in this week's top 5. Finishing fourth is Michael, which seems like it will never fall out of the top 5. And lastly, rounding out our top 5 is The Breadwinner, a new family comedy. Let's go back to the top. Let's give you the numbers and break it down a little bit. The Backrooms debuts to $81.4 million domestically and $118 million globally, all on a $10 million budget. That is a razor-thin, uber-small budget for those who are new or might not know about budgets in cinema. $10 million is essentially nothing. And he made over 10 times that in one weekend globally. This triples A24's best opening record, which was Civil War, and earns Kane Parsons the youngest director to ever top the box office amongst other records, right? Dominating in his first ever film debut weekend. The film has earned an 89% from critics and a 74% from audiences on Rotten Tomatoes. The Backrooms, just no other way to put it, it stuns major studios as we're seeing this trend of, again, that new wave of filmmaker, those YouTubers turned filmmakers. They continue to dominate at release after release after release. The Rotten Tomatoes synopsis of the film is, quote, "A strange doorway appears in the basement of a furniture showroom." That's
accurate.
And that is very accurate. That
did happen.
That can confirm. That did happen.
I saw it.
According to PostTrack via Variety, just under 85% of viewers were under the age of 25, and more than half, or under the age of 35, excuse me, and under half of that was under 25. So majority of this audience were younger millennials, Gen Z, and below. So young people are definitely pushing this, as would be the case with the YouTube series getting its own film. The film has broken, again, going back to records, a slew, right? Again, earning Kane Parsons, who's at the age of 20, the youngest director to ever top the box office chart, the best start for a first-time filmmaker in a non-franchise film ever, as well as being the best opening for an original horror film in cinema history. We will talk a lot more about the plot, about Kane Parsons, and about the Backrooms in our next segment. So that is the big talking point. Obviously, you clicked on the video, you know. We'll be right back with that. But let's move down the rest of the top 5. Finishing second again is Obsession, another YouTuber, Curry Barker, coming in second again in its third weekend in theaters, earning $26.4 million domestically and pushing its global total to $148 million. The film has climbed yet again. After climbing by almost 40% last week, it climbs another 10% in ticket sales, pulling in audiences into seats through fantastic word of mouth and high praise for the filmmaker himself. This consistent climb in ticket sales these past few weeks is the first we've seen from a film since Steven Spielberg's 1982 hit, E.T. the Extraterrestrial. This does not happen. Films do not continuously increase in ticket sales throughout the weeks after their debut. The common goal after their debut is between a 40 and 60% drop. That is considered average, is between 40 and 60. The film has grown by at least 35% since it's debuted in ticket sales every single week, which is nutty. Any thoughts?
It's not about that one, no.
Okay. Then we'll
I haven't seen it.
No,
the
I'm just
makeup's
curious.
funny.
Now that we've talked about like a little bit about the YouTuber turned filmmaker, I was just curious if you had any thoughts about this trend.
After A24 made a buttload, I think we're going to see it a whole lot more. I mean, we've already got, there was I don't remember his name now.
It was Markiplier last year with Iron Lung.
So Markiplier. There's a new Hulu show that's coming out with, he's a TikToker, did skits mainly. He's now an actor in a Hulu comedy coming up.
Right.
So
I've seen the clip.
Yeah. And then there's a guy I really like. He started on Instagram, I think, or he was on TikTok, but his name's Baron Ryan. He's done some short films in the past, but this one he pushed really hard and is now picked up in Europe for theatrical release, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. We're just seeing this consistently happening. I think it's called Not Suitable for Work is the name of the Hulu series with our trying to find the name of the guy so we can
I
actually
can
give
tell
him
you. I
not
know it.
suitable
No,
for
it
work.
started in 2011 though. They
It
just
says
bring them on.
2026. I think so. Not suitable for work. It says TV
I
series
guess
2026.
yeah. I guess there was another one.
IMDb is loading up. Hold on. We're gonna get this guy's
already
name.
in here, and I still don't see him.
I don't either. He's definitely in the
He's
show.
in the-
It's been all over the promotion. I'm just not sure where he's at. We'll find the name. Jake will keep looking. We will get this guy his credit because he's everywhere. I just cannot remember his name to save my life. However, while he does that, we'll come back to this. We're going to go ahead and keep going down our top 5. Finishing third is The Mandalorian and Grogu in its second weekend in theaters, earning $25 million domestically and pushing its global total to $246.6 million, dropping by almost 70%. 7-0. The average again is 40 to 60. It dropped 70% at the box office. Mandalorian accounts for the second worst second weekend drop in Disney Star Wars history, behind only The Last Jedi. Which, are we shocked that that's the company it's in? Not really. When you talk about high like percentage drops in its second week for a Star Wars film, of course it'd be The Last Jedi. But anyway, though according to Variety, quote, insiders at the company, or Disney, were aware The Mandalorian and Grogu could pose a challenge as the continuation of a Disney Plus series. So essentially they're trying to save face. They're like, we spent less on this because, we're trying to get cheaper. And also, we knew this would happen, which seems like a cop-out. But anywho, the film reportedly needs to earn between $500 and $600 million to break even, a number that now seems unattainable. Mind you, again, last week when this debuted, the narrative was, hey, they're profitable, so great, right? This is great. How the times have changed. This is a little hyperbolic. Just right out there. It's going to be hyperbolic from the beginning. But this question is going to be circulating in Disney's boardroom meetings. Jake, is Star Wars still relevant to this and following generations?
Yeah. I think it's relevant, but Disney just sucks at making Star Wars movies.
Which is tragic. How do you suck at making Star Wars? It's Star Wars. But they do. We've talked about this at length the last 2 weeks, but I fear that if they don't start pumping out something of substance, which we might see next year with Starfighter, like maybe that can turn the ship around a bit, this will become the truth. That these younger generations who've only seen Star Wars through an old video game in Battlefront 2, through series like the finishing of the Clone Wars with Bad Batch, with Kenobi, with Mandalorian, it's just a show for streaming. It's just a show or it's just a series for whatever. Like there's no actual movies to come out to this. It might become irrelevant faster than we think if it doesn't change. But anyway, moving down the top 5, Michael finishes fourth in its 6th weekend in theaters, earning $11.7 million domestically and $851.3 million globally in total thus far. And lastly, rounding out our top 5 is The Breadwinner, debuting to $7.5 million domestically on a $25 million budget. Opening way lower than expected, critics and audiences were very divided on how they felt about the film. Critics gave the film a 25% on the tomato meter, and audiences an 87% on the popcorn meter. So very far apart. Those who went to see the film said they loved it. Those who didn't, or those who were more critically acclaimed, said, this is awful. Thing is, films like this, according to the dailies, they don't usually go international. They don't usually go globally. So the film to be any sort of profitable after earning less than $8 million in week 1 has to have legs, and it doesn't look like it's going to have that, especially with next week's releases. So other news from around the top 5, or top 10, I should say, in the box office. The Devil Wears Prada 2 and The Sheep Detectives both fall out of the top 5, finishing 6th and 8th respectively, and the Brendan Fraser starring World War II drama Pressure debuts to 7th at the box office. So Jake, we have a bit of the lay of the land of how the box office did this past week. What catches your eye from any of the top 8 or beyond?
There was not a lot in the box office this past weekend. I mean, 25 max. We usually see like double that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We got Nick Jonas's at limited release, 10 theaters. I think he's in a movie with Paul Rudd. I pointed that out to you in the theater. I hadn't heard anything about it, and I was like, hey, look at that. Paul Rudd and Nick Jonas.
Yeah.
Wonder when that comes out. Right now.
Yeah. I think the wide is this weekend. Yeah.
Yeah. Tuner Tuner at 11. Remember? You remember?
No.
You
Oh,
remember
wait.
Tuner? The
Kind
piano
of.
guy who
Oh,
cracks
yes.
safes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got
Yeah.
superpowers, doesn't he?
I mean,
Yeah,
obviously.
maybe.
Then what's the plot about?
And then obviously breadwinner goat for getting me a point and keeping me tied with Ryan.
I'm gonna call you out. Jake texted our group chat earlier today, and he said, "Chat, did Ryan get cooked?"
He did.
And he thought that I had gotten 0 of 5.
When
Everyone else got one. Nope. Michael saved me. Michael, being the biopic of the century, apparently saved me, and I ended up tying with them. So we all finished 1 of 5. Equally a bad week. It's just one of those weekends where it's impossible to predict, just because you don't know where things are going to fall. You had 3 really tight films for 5th alone, with Devil Wears Prada, with Breadwinner, and with The Sheep Detectives, and then pressure comes in and puts pressure on 6th. So it just was a tough weekend to predict, pressure having Brendan Fraser. So yeah, I'm not shocked that none of us did particularly well, but I did think it was funny that bro tried to call me out and he did equally as bad as I did. Now, not to say that I'm any better. Again, we all did terrible, but I just thought it was funny.
I found the guy in the Hulu comedy. He's done other stuff, and believe it or not, he's done other stuff with Curry Barker.
Ah,
I mean, obviously, I knew he's done
TikTok.
stuff with.
Yes.
Well, yeah, but he's also been in TV shorts and stuff. They've been together in things.
Huh. I'm shocked.
And I was like, I knew that they
cast.
I knew they did skits together on TikTok. Like I knew that, but yeah, he's been. So this Will Angus guy is famous TikToker, but also he's now. I didn't see his credit on the Hulu.
I didn't either.
That was what was odd, because he does have a photo, and he's got items under his name, so it's not like he would show up as like somebody I wouldn't know, or it didn't have a photo on IMDb. I had to find him through like actual TikTok. Like I had to search him up. But he's done stuff since 2017. A lot of shorts, TV miniseries, and like that. But who knows? He'll be the next breakout TikTok actor.
Low-key, I mean, so I'm not going to say I'm the biggest Curry Barker fan. I've seen him around, but he wasn't one of my favorite creators just because I didn't see him a ton. I saw Will Angus a lot more. His roommate skits are hilarious. But I will say, have you seen what Barker's next film, his pitch is, what he's trying to get at? I'm trying to remember exactly. It sounded fantastic. Sorry for the dead air. I'm trying to, anything but ghosts. Yes. And it he had pitched it in an interview, I think, where he talked about you have these people who are faking, they have a ghost hunting show, but then they run into actual ghosts. And so they don't know what to do. That actually sounds fantastic. And apparently he co-wrote it. This is according to the AI, so please forgive me. It's already written.
Cooper is his side part, who's also in the skits.
Yes. They co-wrote it, and apparently it's already being filmed, maybe, or it's already been picked up.
You see the stars, bro?
Of which one?
You know
Anything but Ghost?
Yeah. Bryce Dallas Howard and Aaron Paul.
Yes, I did see that they had already they had expressed interest or were already attached in some way. It's going to be a fantastic
IMDb says they
film.
are.
It's going to be a fantastic film, especially following up Obsession. It's just a cool concept. Shockingly, when you have a unique premise and you have an interesting new storyteller, people go to the theaters. Isn't that nuts? Yeah. Isn't that a crazy concept? Something new, something fresh. People want to see it. It's crazy.
Isn't it crazy when you 1 million times a TikToker's budget, what you get?
Yeah, they already have established audiences, and they're telling new stories, and they're connected to their audiences in a way that's more intimate than these other established filmmakers. But
what I'm saying is these guys on TikTok with limited whatever budget they're doing, they've got theatrical skits with props and fake blood and all that. And Cooper and Curry have been doing this for a while before getting into all of that. And now you give Kane Parsons, right? Kane Parsons.
Yeah.
You give him $10 million, Now, here you go. You've been in Blender the whole time. Now you
Yeah.
get actors and real sets.
We've been
Do your
talking
thing.
about, like, we talked about, like, before the show, and we'll be talking about it a lot next segment, so we're not going to get too far into the back rooms, but there's a lot of people that think that there was a ghost director, and there was a lot of people but the whole reason they brought him on to direct it was because he's the only one who knows the lore enough to actually tell the story.
There's
Like,
a Bible. He has a Bible.
There's a Bible, and there's other people, like one of the actors in the film who we'll talk about his character. He is like a producer, or he does a lot of behind the scenes stuff on top of acting. And they brought him in that role specifically to like shadow Kane, to be there if he needed any help. And he went on Instagram and on TikTok, posted a video of which I shared that said, he didn't need me. He just didn't need me. Like I was there and my job was easy. Because like I read my lines, I performed when I was asked to, but outside of because he's not in it a lot, like as an actor. Outside of that, his other role that he was hired for, he just wasn't needed because Kane knew what he was doing. Which is crazy. When you give a storyteller an avenue to tell stories, it's crazy that they end up knowing what they're doing. You know, like that's anyway. But remember, no one wants to go to the movies, and the box office is always failing not because ticket prices are too high, and not because we're getting the same stories on repeat from the same directors with the same actors, but you know, because
it's not like we're on Toy Story 5 or Fast and Furious 11.
No, it's because cinema in Hollywood's slowly dying, and it's becoming an old fad of entertainment. That makes me so angry. Like, we're having the best year we've had since 2019 at the box office. Pumped and funneled, or at least like projected, because, and this is happening because, fueled is the word I'm trying to think of, because of independent new filmmakers who are young. Markiplier.
I wonder if we're actually like better projected now, because I would say that those guys who were guesstimating and projecting weren't counting on Backrooms getting 80,
not
or
by
Obsession
a mile.
getting 100.
I can pull up the dailies. I love the dailies newsletter. We're not sponsored, but we should be. I use them for a lot of our stuff. They actually put like where we are up to date, like yearly to date, how high of an increase or decrease we've had in the box office. Versus 2025, we are up 19.5%.
Yeah.
Up to this year compared to last year. Like June 1 or through May of 2025 through or compared to through May for 2026, we're up almost 20%. And it's got to be because of films like Backrooms. And remember, last year was a great year for cinema. So again, when you give people what they want, the next thing that has to happen is ticket prices have to go down. But yeah, anyway, that's the last. We're going to talk a lot about.
Hey, that's not their fault.
Anyway, I have so much to say. That's been the box office through the top 10 and beyond. Let's get into the predictions. Jake, start us off. Tell us what your top 5 are and why.
I got Scary Movie at 1. Scary Movie 6 at 1. Masters of the Universe, He-Man, he got the power to come in second. Backrooms 3 at 3. Backrooms 1 at 3. Obsession 1 at 4. And The Mandalorian and Grogu, season 3, episode 1, 3-hour edition at 5.
A point you made, sorry, not to go back. Remember how people are like, we don't want to see a series adaptation of The Mandalorian and Grogu. The Backrooms is like a series adaptation from YouTube.
Yeah.
And it did as well as it did. Sorry, I'm done with that point.
We're also on Scary Movie 6, so. Remember when I said that?
Yeah. The thing is, though, people are excited about that. And with that, we'll go ahead and get into my top 5 because I'm a little apprehensive for.
Some people are excited about it.
I want to see Scary Movie 6. Scary Movie is funny, dude. But I have Masters of the Universe at 1 because of something we're going to talk about later. I'll go ahead and spoil it. We'll talk about it in depth compared to what's the reason this is happening. But in short, Masters of the Universe is getting some recently opened up IMAX screens. I won't say where from. I won't say how because we'll talk about it later. But it getting the premium large format screens right before its release gets me some positive feeling about it being one. There's been a lot of hype behind it, not just from an older generation, but people seem to be interested in it. So I have Masters of the Universe at 1, The Backrooms at 2. I had a tough time. 3, I had Scary Movie. I had a tough time. And then I saw what Jake did, and I won't spoil anything, but we'll talk about it later. Putting Backrooms over Scary Movie, but I just, with an almost $82 million opening, even if it drops 50%, it's at 40. Is Scary Movie 6 going to earn more than 50 million? I don't know. I don't know what, like, I know a lot of people are excited about the Wayans return. I know people are excited for another installment into this franchise. There's so much material they're making fun of that's come out since Scary Movie 5. I know there's hype behind it. That battle for 2 between Backrooms and Scary Movie 6, I think will feed families. I think it will be a lot of fun to watch throughout the weekend. I have Backrooms at 2 just because it's still got so much hype, even with some of those who are hating it, the Backrooms, for reasons they shouldn't hate it. We'll talk about it later. I know that there are some negative reviews for things that aren't the Backrooms' fault. Even with those, I think that we will see Backrooms still continue to do well going into at least its second weekend. Scary Movie 6 at 3 because of everything I just said. Obsession at 4, it will be its first drop in ticket sales, but it will still do a lot. It just is unfortunate that it's got 2 new releases that people are excited for and the Backrooms in front of it. And then following that, I have just falling down the list, The Mandalorian and Grogu finishes my top 5 just because, like, what else is going to be there? Even if it drops again, we're not going to see anything like that. You know what I'm saying? Gosh, my hair is all messed up. While you figure that out, I'm going to fix this. So continue. Go with Claude. Tell us about TJ.
Oh, you don't want to hear about Emily's?
I was going to do that last.
Okay, we'll come back to Emily's then. All right. As some of you may or may not know or care, Claude came out with a new model, and you get to change like the effort or whatever. So I was like, whatever, just run it. I don't care. So I set it to high on the 4.8 model, whatever that means, which means half the rainforest was cut down to make this possible here. Scary Movie at 1. I agree. Master of the Universe at 2. I agree. Backrooms at 3. I also agree. Obsession at 4. I don't know. That's kind of iffy. And then The Mandalorian and Grogu at 5.
I want to point out something, and remember, if you remember Jake's predictions, that is 5 for 5 what Jake predicted. They are the exact same, which is why when I said earlier I was a little nervous when I saw
the probability is there.
When I saw Claude's go in, I was like, oh no. Because
you can argue with a guy who's 55% right.
You're also 55% right.
No, I'm higher.
We're closer to 60. We're under 60 now. We're probably like 58%. Claude is also probably under 55 now. This is our 10th week of predicting 5, so that's
50.
Yeah.
And we had 28.
28 out of 50.
56.
56. Okay, now 26 out of 50.
Closer to 52.
See? Okay, so we're 56% correct compared to the 52.
It's not looking that good. I liked it better when we had a 6 in front of our probabilities.
I cannot wait to go. I can't wait to go 5 of 5.
Sure.
And then I
you have Scary Movie at 3. You're not going 5 for 5.
You don't know. Anyway, Emily predicted, so she had an interesting 5, and I'm very excited to tell you guys about it. She had Power Ballad at 1, which is the Nick Jonas we had talked about before, and Paul Rudd. At number 2, she had Power Ballad, which is an interesting choice coming after Power Ballad. At 3, she has Power Ballad. So, I'm interested to see how it will compete with Power Ballad and Power Ballad. And then at 4 is Power Ballad, which
really, in its 20th week.
I think it will have a really tight competition next week with Power Ballad at 5. So to recap, Emily has Power Ballad at 1, Power Ballad at 2. At 3 is shockingly Power Ballad, and then 4 and 5, rounding out her top 5, is Power Ballad and Power Ballad. So
the re-release, that's
yeah, the 25th. It's the 20th week Power Ballad versus the 25th annual re-release of Power Ballad. So it'll be really interesting to see legacy versus the new, what's been in theaters versus what was made a long time ago. We're being very sarcastic.
I heard Paul Rudd's actually a hologram.
Right, in the new one. So you have the remake, then you have the remake of the remake, and then you have the spin-off that no one wants to talk about. and then the
It was
20
either that or CGI, and you know how that works.
Yeah, right. Anyway,
No.
that's our top 5.
Disclaimer: she had her name there for for predictions, and that she didn't write anything. So
Emily's she's not a Nick Jonas fan, is what Emily said. So
anymore.
Anyway, I think that's a great way to finish off our first segment. Coming up after the break, let's talk and deep dive the Backrooms. We'll be right back. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Beyond the Screen. This is segment 2, which is always our major news segment, so we break down the latest in Hollywood or the best from around the entertainment world. And this week, of course, is Backrooms Week. Everyone had it penciled in on their calendars. We did as well. Me and Jake went and saw the movie. Now let's break it down for you at home. So for those who haven't watched it yet, we always start with a very quick spoiler-free, like a quick synopsis, a quick little breakdown, some spoiler-free thoughts. And then we give you the warning, and then we dive right in. So to start, Jake, let's work our way through a spoiler-free synopsis of the film. Again, you heard it earlier from Rotten Tomatoes. The very quick, kind of ambiguous, a strange doorway appears in the basement of a furniture showroom, and that's the end.
That's actually all that happened.
Right. So you follow, I will say, I want to give all these prefaces for those who haven't seen it yet. It is a continuation of the YouTube series, so it's not an adaptation in the traditional sense. It is an adaptation, but it's just another episode of what was on YouTube. So there's a lot of story that it is continuing, that there is an attempt to baby feed, but at some point it's like, hey, this is 5 or 6 years of continuous story that we are continuing. So it's almost impossible at that point. So Kane Parsons himself has had a lot of airtime post-release or during release where he's been interviewed, and he said a lot. One was that he didn't want to lore bloat it, as in he didn't want to add too much detail, too much talking head trying to describe what the Backrooms are. So that does work against the new viewers who haven't seen anything Backrooms before. And also he said that he feels like while it is a continuation, people who haven't seen the Backrooms can still go in and watch it. That is true. There is a storyline there. There are 2 main characters named Mary and Clark, and just, again, no spoilers. Clark owns a furniture store. Mary is Clark's therapist. And they have an interesting dynamic, and they have some interesting kind of back and forth. And they essentially, I mean, not to, again, this isn't spoilers, but they both end up in the Backrooms. If you are new to the series, there is a story there to follow, and there are enough bite-sized pieces to pick up some of the stuff that was told before. But I told Jake when we were in the car after we watched it, I was like, dude, I think you probably have to know a little bit about the Backrooms to truly grasp and to truly, like, not comprehend, but appreciate what it's trying to do. If you didn't know anything about async, if you didn't know anything about null zones, if you didn't know anything about, like, you know, these or still lifes, right? Like, it's tough to go in and understand what they're talking about because, again, they don't describe them because this is a continuous thing. There are a little bit about async, you know, whatever, but you get what I'm saying. Is like, it is tough. So how do we feel about the movie? Spoiler free, Jake, what are your thoughts?
I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. I saw a lot of people online saying kind of the same thing, as it's not a very frightening film as much as, like, it's hard for me, and I saw this on a YouTube video. It's hard for people, I think, in general, to be super scared or frightened when they're so enthralled in, I guess, learning, or it's confusion and then the desire to know more about this space and this world. And it's like just trying to figure everything out. And so the only real opportunity that you have to get, I guess, an adrenaline rush is like the chase feeling or something coming up behind you, or if they go handheld, that kind of gives you.
Yeah.
But like, other than that, it's like, what's next? Like, I want to know what's through that hole, or oh, this is like, what's the next room going to look like? I think there's more of wonder and curiosity that makes it a little difficult to be scared at every step.
Yeah.
And that was a take that I resonated with. But I've always thought that like the liminal spaces, not even just horror, but like pool rooms and stuff like that. I don't like heights that much, and so there are some of these rooms that people like generate in, like on Reddit. You'll see images of things that people have done themselves outside of Kane's world, and it's just like super tall drops. I don't like those, but I think that what you said, where people expect to go to the theater without any prior knowledge, aren't going to appreciate what they're watching as much. And like, I even only watched the 3-minute deep dive that Ryan sent me before, and then watched another, did I say minute? 3 hour?
Yeah, I was say, yeah, I was gonna give that. It was
3
not.
minute.
3
That's
minutes.
all you need. You only need 3 minutes of a deep dive, and then
No.
you're good to go.
No.
I watched another 3 hour deep dive afterward, done by MatPat, which is a compilation of everything that the film theorists have done, which MatPat did, like a lot of the Five Nights at Freddy's and stuff like that. So he kind of went over the same idea as Wendigoon, is what Ryan sent me, which is he was better, I guess, at like the deep dive. He actually gave more minute details than MatPat. What I watched was like a compilation, basically, of everything that they've done leading up to it. It was 4 days ago. I was expecting to get a little bit of the movie in there, but they only talked about the trailer. I was like, darn it.
Yeah.
And I got to watch a 20-minute like Easter egg thing. And so I've got some notes on some Easter eggs, not a lot, but there's probably more to somebody who has a trained eye and who has seen all of the, I think it's 10 items that Kane has, 10 pieces of media that Kane's come out with prior to the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of other lore building, but I think it's 10 videos total, I think is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I think something that you said that I really like was like the idea of liminal horror. And that is more akin to psychological thriller than it is to actual horror. And I feel like people seeing this build as a horror film, those who are unaware of what the Backrooms are or don't understand the concept, because it's a complex, deep lore behind everything that Kane Parsons is telling on YouTube alone, right? Let alone what the movie is trying to like develop further. So again, you don't have to have watched the Backrooms to appreciate it, but I feel like you can't appreciate it to its fullest extent if you don't know where it's continuing from. Something that really, and again, no spoilers, nothing in particular, but the thing that really interested me and the thing that I was the most excited about it, beyond, you talk about its ambience, dude, like you didn't say that word, but you were describing it. There are moments where it's genuinely unsettling. Like, it's genuinely freaky. You don't know what's around every corner. You talk about the rooms. You're like, I want to see what's in the room. So you feel that connection to the characters as they're continuing deeper, but you're also like, go back. Like, you're really far. Like, that's freaky alone, let alone some of the things that happen while they're there. But again, it is not meant to be it's not meant to jump out and scare you. That's not the point. It is more of a psychological thriller. And so for me, the things that I was really impressed with, especially after I sat back and kind of just give it some thought and I let it sit, was the confirmation of certain conspiracies that people had regarding the lore. Because again, he is very much breadcrumbing everything. Like, even before this movie, every story he's told in this universe, in the Backrooms ethos, has been very, very minimal, very, very, again, here's a breadcrumb here, here's a breadcrumb there. So people had conspiracy theories, they had ideas about where things were going, and they confirmed a lot of them in this movie. Like, a good number of them were outright stated, hey, this is what's happening. And that was really cool to see. But again, if you didn't know that that was something people were only hypothesizing before, that wasn't such a cool moment. It was just, okay, that's how it is then. So again, highly appreciated the movie. I think Kane Parsons, this is his first of many feature-length films that he's going to make that are going to be renowned. I think this is probably the beginning of a very successful film career for the guy, because he's done, as you just said, he's done more than just the Backrooms. Some of his other stuff have been absolutely terrifying, and I look forward to seeing those adapted as well, or him just coming out with original style content. And this is just an exciting time to be a filmmaker, to be a storyteller, or to be people who just enjoy. You could be all of them, but regardless of which avenue you go into, whether you're a story enjoyer, whether you're a storyteller, or both, this is just a great time to be alive for cinema. And I'm hoping that this is a lesson learned. But anyway, if you can appreciate the Backrooms and kind of the story it's told, or you like more psychological thrillers, you like think pieces, you like stories that might not have like a concrete definition of an ending, this is a great film for you. This is fantastic if you like that more of an art housey film. Like what are they trying to say? You like the English teacher type dissect it afterwards. This is your film. But if not,
there's a promise of more.
There is whether it's YouTube or they're talking about films, yes. Regardless, there's going to be a lot more media in this, regardless of medium. This might be for you, and you might like the Backrooms as a whole, regardless, or like outside of just the film. So, any other thoughts about the spoiler-free breakdown?
Nope. Crack the egg wide open.
All right. So we are going to break down the Backrooms. We're going to go into the story. We're going to stop and talk about our favorite parts and talk about things that worked well for us. We're going to break down characters. We're going to break down plot concepts. But before we do that, as always, when we review these films, whether it's a series or like an anime or whatever, we've done every way imaginable to review, or reviewed everything you can imagine. We're going to give you the spoiler warning. So we need to have a button that we press that has like like spoilers. Yeah. Well, not that, but close enough. Something between those two. I don't know if you there you go. Yeah. Spoilers. No. So that's your warning. Various sound effects and all. Boo-wop. Yeah. Go away, turn this off, and come back after you've seen it, because we're not going to hide anything. We're going to go into the story, not beat for beat, but we're going to tell everything. So thank you for watching. You can skip forward to the our review portion of it if you want, or just to our third segment in the meantime, which will be quick hits. But beyond that, if you're here, you don't care about being spoiled, you've already seen it, you want to hear what we have to think, hello, and let's get to it. The beginning, the story breakdown. The story starts with a first-person POV of what we know to be an async researcher running through the Backrooms, out of breath and thrashing his head back and forth as he looks for any semblance of familiarity. This employee is undoubtedly lost. Footsteps give chase in the distance as our character finds a line of wire connecting to a radio transmitter. After blocking the door that he entered through, our character runs to the radio, hurriedly speaking into the mic. After sending out a distress signal, which he just sounds labored, he's like, please, like, come get me out. Like, where are you guys? Again, this is to presumably nobody. A noise catches our character's attention. Turning around to another set of unblocked pathways, a seagull smashes its way into the open doorway, landing on the floor with a sickening thud, tufts of feathers floating where it now has landed. The bird, which is somehow still alive, then spurs to life after our character approaches with a jump and flies off into the distance. And it's really cool because when it happens, like, that's like one of the few, I guess I would say, jump scares. Like, it wasn't even really a jump scare because it's a seagull, right? It's a bird. But when it jumps up, like, it flies away, and there's this moment of, like, for me, where it was like, like, it's flying into the distance down a corridor, and it, like, you know, it's never finding its way out. Like, it's a seagull. And so it's just, you know, you feel kind of like the vastness of this area, that a bird just can fly away, and you just hear it slowly getting farther and farther and farther. So which I thought was a really cool little technique they did there. But after walking down a dark hallway, which is where the seagull came out of, right? So for those who are familiar, the seagull just passed through what's called a null zone. We'll talk more about null zones later, but it found its way into the Backrooms and crashed into the wall and before it jumped up. Anyway, bird spurs to life, flies down the corridor, like just down the way really far, and our async researcher decides to go down where the seagull kind of spawned from. After walking down this dark corridor, a previously passed door, so he walks down, again, there's like lights on, but in the middle of the hallway, there's these lights off. He walks down and he sees what looks like a no credit. It has the words backwards, no credit, on a banner hanging down from the ceiling. And when he walks up to it trying to see what it is, he's trying to understand what he's looking at. A door that he had passed slips open, like you hear it creak, and out lumbers you can't really make out any features, but it's just dark and lanky, comes slipping out of the doorway and starts charging our main character that we're following right now. Following this, he's being chased. It is revealed that, or actually, sorry, he gets cornered. He runs down a couple corridors and he gets cornered. Following getting cornered, it is revealed that this first-person POV is being watched back by someone in a white lab coat via a small monitor somewhere safe from the horrors we just witnessed. Cue title card. So after the thing kind of lumbers out of a doorway, he runs to just anywhere he can find and he hits a dead end. And when he tries to run out, presumably to like outpace this thing and maybe turn a corner, he's caught because this thing is right outside the door. The camera falls and you just hear these horrific screams as he's being presumably torn apart. I really wanted to talk about this introduction because I felt like it was really effective at establishing the Backrooms as malevolent and as something that, like, regardless of how trained you are, this guy followed signs of life. He found wires leading to obviously stationed like research technologies like that transmitter or that radio, and it didn't matter, right? I felt like this was so great at being like, hey, the Backrooms are malevolent and it's like the ocean. Like, you will die if you're not careful. Jake, what did you think about the opening?
I was like, hell yeah, you found the wires, like you found the camera, like there's a research like place, like at least maybe like, theoretically you'll be safer. In my mind, like that's a realm of safety, which arguably yes or no as we get further into this, because we don't know what would happen. So. And I mean that because, like, sure, you run into other people in there. Great, awesome. What kind of people are they? Who do they work for? Or what do they resolve or anything like that? And so, yes, you find humans running, from the same monster. Hopefully they're better prepared than you are. And, but in the sense of the title, or not before the title card, it's like you follow the wires and you go in there and then it's just, didn't go anywhere. It's like, damn it.
Yeah. But, and it's interesting because it makes you wonder, like, was this set up? Or like, how did this get
Who
here?
Did this?
Yeah, like, because if it's not, because it is a functioning transmitter, but if it went to nobody, who put that there? Because again, there are so many different ways and for different people.
Really well.
Yeah. So it's very interesting when you look back and you try to think of like, okay, like, was that actually a transmitter because he was lost, or was that something that the Backrooms kind of conjured up, which we'll get into more of that thought process in a minute. But yeah, this is not, if you know anything about the Backrooms lore and ethos, this is not the first time that a async researcher has found themselves lost in the Backrooms. This is, however, one of the first times that we've seen them get caught. If I remember correctly, the main researchers you follow in the series before the movie on YouTube, there was a big one that got lost. Of those that have been like kind of sucked into the Backrooms and have been lost prior to that were mostly people with camcorders who do die. But really, we don't really see a lot of these researchers getting that kind of treatment in terms of they get caught. Most of the time, they're for a plot reason, they return, or there's a way. So I don't want to spoil a lot of what goes on in the series just because I want you guys to go and watch it. But it is interesting to see. This is one of the first times that we see where it's like they are in danger, and not just from each other, like from the Backrooms. Like, obviously they're in danger in the series, but you know what I'm saying. But anyway, following our title card, we get into our first major character. His name is Clark, and he is our most important character throughout the film. He is a downtrodden, depressed furniture store owning divorcee, which is a lot. He's not got a lot going for him. Clark's life is in shambles as he works tirelessly to get his furniture store off the ground and profitable while he tries to rebuild his life. A once aspiring architect, Clark describes through a therapy session with a second main character named Mary, of which we'll get to later, that his need to support his wife as she tries to get back to college to be a lawyer pushed his dreams, again, of being an architect, out the window, and mixed with having to pay the bills and lack of success with what he ended up settling for, that further pushed him to the bottle. Now, this is his own description, right? This is what he's saying, hence the divorce. So in this early scene with Mary, his therapist, Mary makes him do some role playing to where she's playing his wife and he is himself, and they're going through the night that led to the divorce. And essentially he's saying to his wife in this moment, who do you think pays for everything? Like, you're gallivanting as a student at 30, and I'm here putting my dreams on hold to pay for everything you have, and yada, yada, yada. So that's a very important part, because that is something that comes back later. And the thematic kind of thread that is entailed through this whole thing, which is ironic in the Backrooms, right? But is alone. You feel alone. Like, are you alone? Like, that's the question that Mary poses. Like how do you respond to being alone? And that, again, very strong thematic through line through everything is that idea of alone, but we'll get back to that. But that is where he is at. That's where Clark is at. Fresh divorcee, trying to make his life work, and it's not going well. The next scene, while at his store, and after a somewhat awkward failed attempt to film a commercial for his store while dressed as his business's pirate mascot with his 2 young college-aged employees, Clark speaks with an electrician about some strange power outages and surges at the store, specifically after hours, causing his power bill to increase. Hence, again, because he's low on cash, because his store's failing, that's a big deal. Leading to the discovery of a strange switch in his breaker box, a red, disconnected, and offset switch seemingly connected to nothing. Keep this in mind, this breaker. Again, the rest of them, think about a breaker box. Usually black switches, and there's a whole row of them. But at the very bottom, disconnected from the rest of them, it's off-centered, it's almost sideways. Like, it's completely the wrong direction, and it's bright red. But it flips, and the electrician was like, this is weird. It looks like someone just glued a switch on here. And they flip it a few times, and it does nothing in that moment. So they're trying to figure out where the surges are coming from, and they can't, but they do find this in the breaker box. After another set of power surges some days later, Clark, in a fit of frustration, goes down to the breaker box and flips every switch until he gets to the offset switch. Mind you, because he's divorced, he sleeps in the store. So he is watching television, he is in the store, the TV starts acting weird, but the power outages aren't everywhere. Like, the TV goes out and the lights above him go out, but the lights in the distance on the first floor stay on, and the lights downstairs in the bottom of the showroom where the breaker box is stay on. And they flicker and they spurt, and it's weird. So there's no real explanation for why at this moment. However, he's very frustrated because, again, power bill's high because of this. He's divorced and he's home, or he has to live in his own store, which isn't making him any money. So again, he goes down, flips all the switches off until he gets to the offset switch. After flipping it, this red offset switch, and the power finally goes off. Clark, then satisfied, starts to walk back to bed to go back upstairs when a ray of light catches his eye. Like stray beams of light sneaking through the crevices of a doorway, Clark notices what looks like an opening in his wall. This is what we know to be a null zone. Throughout the rest of the series up to this point, those are the spaces that have opened up since Async, the company that we've talked about already, opened a threshold to get into the back room and traverse it, right, to study it. Since opening it in 1989, this film happens in 1990, these null zones have been opening up everywhere, right? Whether it's just in the floor or in your wall or whatever, right? We know this to be happening, and that's how the previous episodes in the back rooms have happened, is because people are falling through, driving into, or walking into these null zones. Clark has found one in the basement of his furniture store. Obviously, he sees the light. He tries to walk up to it to see what's going on. He phases through reality, and we now have our first endeavor into the back rooms. So, Jake, let's talk about this first experience. Walk me through what you thought regards to, he gets through it. What does he see? Talk to me about it.
He sees this, it's like a pile of furniture, but like the furniture is half clipped into itself. And so like there's 2 chairs, one's standing properly on all 4 legs. And then there's another one that's flipped upside down, like you would normally stack chairs to like save space, but it's like clipped into the seat of the bottom one a little bit. And then also the backrest. So it's like you were placing it in a video game and you went 1 pixel too low.
Straight
and now the chairs, now the chairs are fused together. And so he goes and like tries to take the top one off, and it just picks up both of them. Obviously nobody can use that. And then like there's a bunch of other furniture where it's like even worse, of like a glass door of a cabinet is like clipping through a dresser, and it's just like glass coming out of the front drawers. It's just literally like a video game where you would put something inside of something else and just say, yep, that's furniture. Which is literally what's happening. And we don't see, I guess, a shared emotion with the audience on Clark's demeanor or face or otherwise. He is actually quite curious because this is the first time I guess we'd be in the back rooms, literally, whereas like it's found footage mostly nowadays. Now it's like we're living as Clark, and so this is the first time audiences actually get to feel like they're in the back room, and it is not a shared emotion. Clark is very curious and not frightened at all because obviously he doesn't know anything about the back rooms like we do, but there is a level of like he's just going to keep going. There's nothing in his mind that prevents him or makes him feel like he's not safe. And it's like, I don't know, even if I didn't know anything about the back rooms, that I would feel safe wandering the halls of whatever that place is, like, and then you see like a big chair in the middle of a room and it's like, that's somebody's chair. It's gotta be like somebody sits there. And it's like the chair comes up to like here.
Well, there's also like the backwards stop sign that reads pots. Yeah, because it's like it's like someone took an image of it but flipped. It's like it's just he genuinely really was just like, huh. And like there's an explanation for that, like following his experience. Like he thinks that it's just added on and he thinks it's a trick of some sort. So he thinks that this is genuinely just an increase to the building that wasn't in the floor plans or underground. But it's interesting because there's this before, because I want you to continue with what happens as he's walking through further and further. And this is when the film is at its best because you're like, no, stop. Like you're like, you feel that dread of like, you don't know, but you can't get back. Like you have that feeling of like, which we'll talk about that, him going back here later. But like, again, we see a little bit about like, and there's this motif that runs through the film of like, he says later, it's like asking someone who's never seen a dog, like you describe what a dog looks like to someone who's never seen one, and then you ask them to draw it. It's like they get some things right, but not. That's what he described the backrooms like. And that is, it's such a perfect little motif for what it's like being in there. Just things are odd. Things are off. But anyway, continue.
So I think he like finally gets to a hallway after walking around way too deep as soon as he walked through and like walked past the first room, I was like, you've gone too far, buddy. Turn around. Cause like I'd have had a rope tied to a table leg back in the earth, back in there now. And I'd have been walking around with a rope or something.
Second that rope hits its line, you're like, all right, I'm going back. Yeah.
I'm about to head out. So, and then they find a table that's like flipped against the wall. And it's like, how's a table like that?
Yeah.
But that, it's spoiling the future. But, so there's like a cardboard cutout, of what we later find out is a mannequin, a caveman. It's a caveman cutout, with a speaker that's playing like multiple different languages. I would assume it's the same thing, but I don't remember when the English one rolled around, I wasn't listening. So I don't remember what it said, but it's just all the different languages. And there's cables coming off of that cardboard and it goes up and over a door that is like stuck shut. Like the wires literally just go through the wall.
Yeah. It almost looks like it's like a bookshelf was like closed against it to block. And it's like going like there's just enough space between the top of the door frame and the bookshelf that's put there. And he can't get through it. Yeah.
And then it goes to a camera that's in that room too, just watching the cardboard cut out and anybody who enters that room. And he pulls on the cables and he pushes on the door and it doesn't work. And what else did he do? He finds like a hidden door in the wall and like pries open this little tab, finds a bag of like researcher stuff. I think it had like a key card and some other, I don't know what else was in there. I knew he pulled out a key card and I think he kept it. He kept the key card, put it in his pocket.
That does not come back, by the way.
No,
he
I was like, well,
does hold on to that.
Not gonna find a guy. Like he kept it. He walked. He like crawled through that crawl space with the key card in his pocket. Like I saw him put it in his pocket. Doesn't come back. And what it puts him in the room with the chair? No.
So he crawled through that little duct. So he pulls off what looks like a board in the wall, like, but it's only like duct size. So it's like he had to like hands and knees crawl through it. And when he gets to the opposite side, it's another open room, and it's an empty room with a hole in the middle, and there are chairs in the hole. But then on the opposite far right corner, it's this weird like slanted incline up to this like yay high door with 3 doorknobs.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is another moment where it was like beyond him just going super far. It's like not a very like small drop into the room from the duct that he crawled through. When he jumped down, I was
probably like
chest. Like that's hard to get up. Like that's not like if something comes in there through that tiny door, you're not going to get up into that right away. Like you're going to have to like legitimately like jump. And like if you miss, you're screwed. So when he jumped down in there, I was like, what are we doing? But anyway, he drops down into the room. And continue.
I think he investigates the hole with a bunch of chairs in it, and then he like hears something back the way he came, and I guess he walks over and he investigates it, and I think the cardboard cutout of the caveman just gets freaking like backhanded or splattered across the room with like a loud monstrous noise.
Before that, the film does suffer a little bit from horror movie logic, like bad. So like he like hears these thunderous footsteps approaching where he was, and he goes, anyone there? Like just loud as heck. And then the cardboard mannequin thing just gets destroyed. Yep. And he sees that and he turns to run, and you hear the footsteps getting closer. Like, Clark, what are you doing?
And he climbs up this ramp, which is steeper than it appears, really, but like he has to be on all fours, like gripping the carpet, and he's trying all the doorknobs, and the bottom 2 don't work, which of course horror movie logic, and then the top one does, and it is like literally no wider than his shoulders, and he has to crawl through that. Yeah, I don't know. And then at that point I was like, he's screwed, because like you and I both know that as soon as you go through main hallway, like room hallway into the room of the camera, through a crawl space and up a ramp through a small door, you're lost.
Yeah.
like that. There is no way that door will take you back to where you started. Well, sure enough, it did.
Like when he looped around, because when he popped out, he ran by the backward stop sign, and I looked at Jake and I went,
we were like,
he went in a circle.
When does that ever happen? When does that ever happen?
I whispered to Jake like, he went in a loop, and Jake went. Yeah. But Jake was just looking at me like, what is happening? Yeah, he got the luckiest man alive. He found the one loop in the entire back room.
I mean, there are like hallways, and then there's large pillar or column level, like you can take a left and then take another left and then take another left, and you are like, there's a loop like that, but it's never been from, several rooms down a hallway into a room, through a crawl space, up a little ramp, through a small little door, and then you're in a loop. No, like it's never
so lucky.
That lucky. You're never that lucky.
Right.
So wow. But and then I think he just leaves.
He like runs. This is the moment that I knew was going to happen, because like something about null zones in particular is we've never seen anyone traverse them back and forth. That's like a major point of the original YouTube videos, is that like,
besides
once you fall through,
the
threshold,
the company,
async,
besides async, nobody else has traversed the null zone that they crossed over from.
Right, but that one is specifically called the threshold, and it's not like it's hidden. Like you can see that. Like async has an opening that they can look through at all times. So it's like that one is a little different. I think there's a door they can close, but no one's ever gone through a null zone that's been hidden and go back until Clark, because he runs back by that conjoined pile of furniture. And of course, we knew this was going to happen. Like, again, when this happened, me and Jake just looked at each other like, of course. He runs into the wall. He hit the wrong spot. So when he runs back to run back through, he just bangs into the wall. And we're like, well, this is the end. And he finds a knoll, he finds the zone or like the opening and he runs through it. And then he runs back and grabs the one piece of furniture from the pile that isn't conjoined. It's a stool, and then goes back. And he's
like he needed proof, and then he realized I don't. It doesn't come back, by the way. He takes it back,
the stool,
and he sits on it, and he stares at the null zone on the safe side.
I've seen some like clips like reels from that where it's like Clark realizing he has an infinite or a stash of furniture to sell, and it's him running back in and grabbing the stool and running back out. Yeah, it's pretty. I thought it's pretty funny.
And it's like you could sell these like weird ones.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is that one was a pretty like.
It was a normal stool.
That was just a normal stool. But I felt like, again, before we move on, I just want to say this again, just reiterate. When the film is doing this, when you are lost in the unknown, when you're following this guy through these twisted corridors that, like, it is like eerie, where it's like, it looks normal, but it's not, right? Like, there's a Uncanny Valley. Like, this hits really hard into Uncanny Valley. This isn't the scariest. The next thing Clark gets into is the scariest, in my opinion, and we'll talk about it here in a second. But I just want to put that out there that like this is the moment, or these moments are where you're like, oh. So anyway, following this experience, he runs out with a key card and a stool that never come back. Clark spends the next few nights attempting to map out the area that he's discovered, which is crazy business. Taking the map that he has drawn out on a crude piece of like yellow legal pad paper, he takes it to Mary for their next session. And he asks Mary, have you ever 5150'd anybody, before he starts describing. And I actually looked it up. In California, that is like a 72-hour psychiatric hold. He's essentially asking, like, have you ever had to do this? And she's like, a few times. And he's like, okay, cool. And then he pulls out the piece of paper and he's like,
you're about to.
Yeah. Which he's like, again, this is where the description of like, I think there's an additional underground area to my building that no one has talked about. And I think that there are mirrors to hide the entrance. And like, I don't know what this is, but it's so vast. I've almost gotten lost. It's weird. And that's where the motif of the dog, or drawing the dog, comes in.
Which he was going real strong.
Yeah.
I think that explanation was decent, and she was on board. She was like, huh. I mean, that's interesting. That could be a thing. People are finding spaces all the time.
She also asked if he was drunk.
Well, he might have smelled.
Probably. Because he walks in and she's like, or he's like, how do I look? And she's like, you look normal. And he goes, no, I look awful. Like he yells at her. That's before the 5150 comment. He's like, I haven't been sleeping. By the way, have you ever had anyone go to a 72-hour psychiatric hold? Yeah? Okay, great. Here's this thing.
I'm not going to say it was a perfect dismount. Like, no, I'm not going to say that.
All I'm saying is it was perfect for what his character was going through. Like his character is already disheveled and going through a lot, and then he finds this earth-shattering thing that he's trying to justify, and he just wants to talk to somebody about it. So like I felt like it was completely justifiable for the character, but it is funny to look back on just how awkward he was trying to describe it, which he knew how he sounded, which I thought that part was beautiful. Like that really well done from both sides, because Mary. We'll get into Mary's character and why she might have believed him more than others per se, but she was rightfully suspicious. And I thought that was really well done. So anyway, after this and Mary's apprehension, Clark vows to get evidence and come back and be like, I will prove to you that this is a thing. And he storms out of the office. Following this, he enrolls the help of his young coworkers, Bobby and Kat. Remember the two earlier when he was filming the commercial? He had a fake peg leg, which was hilarious because you could see his leg sticking up in the back as he's like, it's attached to his knee.
The peg is it's a foot of like ottoman, or not ottoman. It's a foot of a table.
Yes.
I think.
And so he's like these two college age students who are in a relationship, Bobby and Kat, he goes and he gets them and he's like, I'll pay you. I just need you to help me with research, but he won't tell them with what. So Clark and company then enter the back rooms. So when they go back to the bottom floor of the furniture store, he has mapped out the entrance to the null zone with blue painter's tape on both sides.
And he's got whiteboard. Like, he's been going.
Yeah. Every night since this. And this is a part I think that we'll get into this really deep later. I think this is the part that hurts it for me, is they don't talk about the passage of time. Like they just kind of jump to the next thing. So when he says he's been there every night, you're like, well, how many nights? I think he might have said the weekend, so you can assume 3 nights. But there's a lot of stuff he has that makes it feel like it's longer. And so that there are these moments where it's like, if you just would have said or like insinuated a passage of time, which the Backrooms are weird with time anyway, so it might be hard to do that. But there's a major moment where this happens later, and I want to wait for that to really dive into that point. But anyway, yes, big whiteboard mapped out, doorways mapped out with yellow painter's tape. He convinces Bobby and Kat to go in. Bobby, again, college age, he says he uses his student ID to rent a camera, presumably for the commercial, but now he's using it to film the Backrooms. They go in and they start to investigate. So Clark is like, hey, I've been in here a lot. I almost got lost, but like there's this area I need you to go down. So essentially they find this chute. Clark has found a chute that is just almost a straight drop. It is super steep. And he's like, Bobby, I'm going to attach this rope to you. I'm going to tie it to this loose bed frame that's across from this hole in the wall. That's this chute. And you're going to go down and you're going to investigate for me because I need to know what's down there. After finding, he gets down there and there's just clothes and broken cardboard people that we've seen before. And he's like, it smells, it's gross. And he gets to the end of the line because there are these openings that he's trying to go into. And dude, I'm just going to say, this segment is the scariest in the entire film. Like, I wanted it to stay like this the entire time because it genuinely was unsettling discovering this moment. And this is first person POV from Bobby's perspective of the camera. So he like gets to the end of the line after trying to look through, and there's this little doorway at the opposite corner of this room he's in that smells and is dark and is whatever. And he's like, I give me more line. And Clark's like, you don't have any. And so he like leans forward. Yeah, he leans forward. Again, if this were anyone else, we'd be like, all right, I'm out of here. But no, he's like, let me get further. He leans forward and tries to see in this dark crevice in this opposite room, and something moves. So he turns and he tries to run up, and he gets pulled to the very top. And you could see it coming from a mile away, what was about to happen. They did not
the rope.
They did not pull the rope taut after pulling him up, so there was still rope hanging down the chute. And surely enough, Bobby gets pulled down. But not just that. When Bobby gets pulled down, so goes the bed frame, which pushes Kat and Clark down the chute with him. And this was actually really cool because, like, when they get down there, you hear him screaming, like, because originally when he gets pulled down, they're like looking down, like Bobby, and you hear him screaming bloody murder. Finally, the bed gives way and they get pushed down. When the camera falls with them, because Bobby had put the camera down at this point, when the camera falls with them, it goes down the chute and it lands facing the way that Bobby was getting pulled to. You see a streak of blood, and all you see is his hand get tugged behind what is like a sideways door or an opening of some sort, and it just shuts. And Clark is more worried about the camera. And Kat, the girlfriend of Bobby, she just watched her boyfriend, streak of blood, get tugged into something. She runs around a wall to like try to save him, and you just hear her scream. And Clark is like, I'm out of here. And he like busts a hole in like the side of this paneling and crawls through these like,
which is the ceiling. This room's sideways, so he goes to the paneling of the drop ceiling,
which was really cool.
Drop wall.
Yeah. So he crawls through that and he finds another few like areas, and he finally finds, after running from something and through these various rooms, he finds what's like a pool area. Like he stumbles into this water room, and he goes to the opposite end of this wall because he hears Kat calling. And once he gets there, he's like touching the wall because she's like, I'm on the opposite side of the glass. You got to get me out of here. And he's like, glass. All I see is a wall. And again, when I say this is the freakiest moment of the entire film, this moment got me. Because as Clark, he puts down the camera on a table facing where he's going. And as he's like touching, trying to figure out what's going on, he can't see Kat, but she can see him. The camera gets picked up and starts filming Clark. And it is noticeably really tall. And when that happened, goosebumps. I was like, because that thing followed him. Like that thing followed him, like hunted him down and decided, like that's a level of malevolence. That's like a level of like straight up, like I know what I'm doing. It's not just hunting. When you get chased by one of these things, you think it's just like almost like a primal instinct. But when it picks up the camera, there's a level of intelligence and just malevolence that's like, I know what I'm doing. Like, I know what this is, and I'm going to get this. And so Kat, who can see through this wall because she thinks it's glass, goes, there's something behind you, or it's behind you, and he turns around. End scene. Like, it just cuts. This is where the time jump. And this is where there needed to have been a little bit of definition of, like, what's going on.
Ryan has TikTok brain, and he needs his hand.
No.
Yeah.
No. Because for me, it was just like, let's get into it, and then we'll describe. Because we see Mary. we've seen Mary a lot up to this point, but nothing as important as when we switch to her POV full time. So we're just going to follow her POV for the rest of the film. Then we'll talk about major points in a minute. So following Clark's last session and his subsequent disappearance, Mary receives an ominous voicemail from Clark stating something like, "I opened the window and I'm not coming back." Again, keep this in mind because the window is another motif. The dog and the description of the dog and someone trying to draw it, but the window is something that comes back a lot too. She then decides after getting this email, or this, about to say email, this voicemail from Clark, decides to go find him. Is like, I need to go find my patient. There's no telling of how long this has been afterwards, but it's odd because it doesn't feel like it's that long. But it might be. Upon reaching his store, however, the door is unlocked. Music is playing as if it should be open. But it's apparent Clark and company have been gone for at least a few days or at least a while because there's mail piled up at the bottom of the door. So she opens it, she goes, she sees that the lights are on downstairs. She goes down, finds the null zone, and enters. The same level of like, oh, what is this? As the rest of the characters were when they go through, but they go through it. She starts to explore the backrooms herself. After searching, Mary finds a crudely drawn mural of a large, lanky humanoid figure throwing or lifting what looks like a normal person through and up to a window. There's also some writing that I could not find what it was, but I remembered it stuck out to me, but I just cannot for the life of me remember it exactly. I think it might have said like, "It can hear you," but there was more, and I cannot remember what it was. But anyway, she hears something behind her, and she turns, and it's Clark whispering, "You're being too loud." And this is another one of those freaky moments because all you see is just a black figure kind of like fade from the corner that she turned.
And I agreed with him. I was like, "Yeah, she is being way too freaking loud. You kidding me?"
Yeah. So she like as she's searching for Clark, mind you, this area she's in is a dead end. Like where this mural is, she turned down this awkwardly sized and weirdly designed hallway. And so Clark is just behind her now. And he eventually comes out of the shadows and they're kind of talking a little bit. And then you hear these giant lumbering footsteps. And as this is happening, Clark says like, "Be quiet, no sudden movements." And he's slowly backing up. And as they're looking back towards the way they came, there's like another hallway offshooting of where she came out of. There's a light. And as this being gets close to the light goes out. And as like everything is, it's like you could cut the air because it is so thick with just the anticipation of what's about to happen. Clark just chokes her out. Clark just jumps on her and just chokes her out of nowhere. She passes out. And this is where we get to, this is the most dialogue heavy the film gets, is this next scene. Because when she awakes, she is in what is like a house. There's a table that's set for dinner. A person sitting to her left. Clark is sitting domineering at the head of the table, straight across from her. Empty plates set before them. Back behind her on the left is this person sitting in a wheelchair, and back to the opposite left-hand side of the wall, close to the refrigerator, is a redheaded woman who we've seen before. Clark was chased by this redheaded woman while he went into this like Christmassy room, and she was in there. Yeah, just throwing her arms about, just chasing, as Jake said, or Jake just did. So
I didn't say anything.
Let's talk about what transpires in this room really quickly. So Clark again is there, and he's talking a little bit about the backrooms and about what he's discovered. And again, this is going back to, there's no real discerning of how much time has passed. He obviously has been there a while because he knows a lot more than when we saw him like 5 minutes ago.
I was hoping that he would be like knowledgeable and be able to navigate it, and they would go on an adventure and, I don't know, kill the beast or something. Like I was kind of hoping that he would be.
Yes,
God.
I'm okay with what happens because it speaks to his mental state, and we'll get to that in a minute. I want to get through the scene quickly. The people in the room are not correct. They're what are described by Kane. No description other than a name called Still Life. We've seen a little bit of these before outside of the lumbering, lanky figure. We've seen that a lot in Backrooms folklore. But there are a few times, especially in more recent episodes of the YouTube series, where there are these more humanoid, less lanky and not undescriptive, more humanoid. You can tell they're human, right? In this, there's a guy with like 3 rows of eyes, one where his eyebrows should be where they normally should be, and 2 on his, and like another set on his cheek. The lady has a weird nose going on, like she might have 2 noses, and the dude in the wheelchair is just, his face is not correct. Like there's obviously something wrong here. Deformities, but not like the way we would perceive deformities. Like these are just wrong. And Clark goes on to mention that there's just describing the Backrooms and describing kind of his experiences and what these things are. And he says they're perfect. They don't feel anything. And he stabs one of them through the neck, doesn't do anything, doesn't bleed. He then opens up the thing that's sitting at the table. It's this beer-bellied big guy. And he just rips open its belly. But instead of like gore or blood, it almost looks like foam, but it's fleshy foam. It's white.
Gooey foam.
Nasty.
It's like
sounding.
a melted marshmallow.
Yeah. And he says you can eat them. The best part is you can eat them. And he puts a hunk of it on each of their plates, including the one he's pulling the meat from, on the plates, and they're just talking. And eventually Clark is like, I want to role play. Just like we had before in the therapy session. And, oh, mind you, he goes behind him to the redheaded lady and like scalps her and puts it on Mary, who's tied to a chair.
Because his ex-wife or his wife was redhead.
Yeah.
So was a still life.
And so they begin to role play the same night they had role played before, where Clark comes home drunk and drops the glass that leads to their divorce. But instead of being understanding and saying he's normal and saying that like whatever, like she had said before, she kind of claps back at him. She says, you blame everything else for your problems, but you never take any responsibility for your own. And essentially pleads with him and is like, hey, just let me go. You don't have to change. Because Clark says this place is perfect. Clark is like, this is perfect. This is where, for the first time in a long time, I feel like I am where I'm supposed to be. And so she essentially says, I don't care. You can just let me go and you can stay here and you can stay the same. So he's like, fine. So he gets up to untie her.
He was glad. He was glad that she said that
he wasn't trying to change him.
Oh. I don't give a crap what you do.
So, which is an interesting point, because before we get to what happens next, because this is where things just absolutely hit the fan and things just go down really fast. Why do we think that? Why do we think he felt like that was a perfect place for him?
I guess he didn't have anything on the other side, I guess.
Yeah.
Would be my guess is now he's got companions and I guess a wife that doesn't talk and
yeah.
I don't know. Stuff like
he even
that.
said he like snapped at the redheaded lady who he cut the hair off of and was like, get the lights. And he laughs after she doesn't move. And he goes, we're still working on that. And it's like, yeah, he had said multiple times too in their earlier sessions in the film, he was like, I hurt people. I just hurt people. And I felt like this was his psyche, because remember, he had scalped her and he had stabbed the dude in the neck and opened him up. This is where he feel like he could like be himself and like let go of like societal pressures. Like he could be whatever he felt like he was being painted to be by all these people around him. He could hide from his responsibilities. He could just eat people, right? Like, but not like cannibalism, but kind of, right? Like he could be whatever he wanted to be without the repercussions. Like if he wanted to be an architect, he could, I guess, be an architect in there, right? Like using the supplies he had. And I felt like it was a representation of like, I don't want to say his ideal world, but it was interesting how he took advantage of that and he saw this literal hellscape and he was like, this place is where I belong.
I'm rocking with it.
Yeah. So anyway, following this, and this is where I really want to get because I find this fascinating. Lumbers in the giant humanoid, but instead of being what we've seen in the Backrooms prior.
Well, the lady runs away.
Oh yeah. After the footsteps, yeah, it's lumbering in, you hear it, and the redheaded lady runs to the opposite end of the wall and starts banging on it, like in fear, which is the first time we've seen them do anything in this entire time. Oh, also, the dude in the wheelchair starts flipping the lamp, and like they're all kind of freaking out. In lumbers the giant, the main antagonist of the film, if you will. And it's not just a black, featureless, skinny, lanky humanoid.
Bacteria monster.
Yeah. And we've seen before.
Yeah.
It's got a form. And it's got the form of Clark, which was fascinating because it wasn't just Clark. It was the mascot. It was the pirate, peg leg and all. Yeah. Pirate hat adorning.
Real peg leg.
Yeah. Of Clark. No fake leg popping out. And it picks up Clark, who Clark is like, this is our therapist. Which was fascinating, the language. This is our therapist. She said, we don't have to change. We're fine. and Big Clark, the monster, picks up real Clark and looks him in the eyes. And you can tell that real Clark is kind of starting to get nervous here because he's like, what are you doing? Like, we're fine. We're fine. He's trying to reassure it, which just makes me wonder. This is another point about the conversation is like, how long had he been in there for him to have been able to reason with this thing? Like, I know we're not supposed to have answers, but like, this is the point where it's like, what if it was like a few days for her, but it was like months for him?
Yeah.
I would have loved to have known that. Like, that would have been like really interesting to see how time, because we've seen it reverse in the Backrooms where this guy named Peter, he's a researcher for acing. He gets lost. And when he finds his way out, for him, it had been 30 minutes, but for the real world, it was like 2 months. In this scenario, it feels like it was reverse, where for him, it was a long time, but for the real world, it wasn't. Because enough time had to have passed for the mail to pile up, but obviously wasn't enough for him to understand some of the things he was telling her. Like you can eat the still lifes and him having that relationship with himself or the big monster.
I feel like it takes a while to figure out that you can eat them.
Yeah, because you have to be that drastic. Like you have to be in that type of situation where I'm going to starve if I don't eat this individual. Because at that point he's got to believe it's cannibalism, and then he opens him up and it's like this isn't, and then that like justify in your mind. You're already hungry.
Or
you're
maybe
like,
he hit him, but you still have to come to that.
Yeah.
That like thing where it's like, I'm going to eat this now. Like I believe that he decided to experiment on one of them and start slashing or beating on them, and then found out what they were made of. And then it's like, ooh, gooey. And then there is like a level of, I guess if he's already crazy, he probably would have licked it or tried it and then realized that it was, I don't know, edible of sorts.
Yeah. Why do we think the monster, the still life, I don't think it's a still life. I think it's called something else, but why did it take the form of the pirate? That is the big one that I love to dissect. Because like that's a character he's playing. But why?
I guess Clark was playing a character. And that's like the memory, right?
Expound. Keep going.
I don't know. I mean, that's the monster is, I would say is, it's like everything that Clark doesn't like want to be is that other side.
Yeah.
That's what I would say it is.
If anything, that's the thing that Clark resents the most. Like,
yeah.
Like
he is a monster. He hurts people. That's the monster.
Yeah. That's other me.
Yeah.
I almost feel like, what if these things, because this is me hypothesizing, because as Clark describes, and this is a part of what I was talking about earlier, where it's like you get confirmations of things that were only hypothesized from the previous installments into the YouTube series. Clark straight up says and confirms these are copies. Like this thing is taking a snapshot and trying to recreate these things. There's someone who was in a wheelchair with a bow tie and a suit. There was a dude sitting at a dinner table with but like it's all wrong. And he said something interesting. He said the longer it has to look at you, the less it does, which I thought was fascinating. But again, what if whenever it's doing that, what if it's taking, because again, the redheaded lady was just like, she was crazy. She was running around. What if it takes the strongest emotional version of that thing? Because that's the most power. That's the most energy, right? If Clark feels the most disdain for the reality he's in, and it's the version of him that is playing Captain Clark or the version that runs the store, would that not be the version that would have the most emotional impact behind it? Because it's the one he hates the most?
I would say so.
It is interesting that it represents or it replicates and shoots back. Like if you're looking in a mirror, why does it only reflect the version of you that you hate the most? That I find fascinating.
Deep shit.
Yeah. And on the top of it too, its eyes are bulging and it's just wrong. It looks like it's
not right.
It's made of clay almost. Like it just doesn't look right. And so anyway, it's got Clark like a baby and it just decides to eat him.
Uppies.
Yeah, while he's getting uppies, Clark gets his neck and shoulder just bit. And
which is not fatal.
No. But that's
he do be screaming.
He do be screaming. And so Mary, having one hand untied, because remember Clark was untying her when Big Boy walked in, unties her other hand and just runs. And she gets to the end of, she runs out of the house that they're in, and it's like this street, and there's like this fake roof above her with like sky and all these other houses, and she runs to the end of the street where this door is, and it's locked. And as that's happening, out comes Big Boy tugging Clark, who is profusely bleeding, by the leg. And remember, this thing has a peg leg, so it is just stumbling along, chasing. So Mary runs into another house and finds another doorway, which leads into a hallway with all these couches, and she's jumping over the couches, and she falls, and she, like, busts her knee. Like, I don't know. They didn't really say. I think she hyperextended her knee, and it, like, messed her up, so she's limping the entire way. And this was fun, like, with the scare scene or the chase scene. I didn't really find it, profusely scary. I don't know why. It didn't really impact me like some of the other scenes did. But she finds, like, these different corridors and, like, hallways, and she finds, like, she pops out of this tiny little doorway, and she's in, like, this long, like giant, almost skyscraper-like area where it's just a straight drop if she falls. And so she has to, like shimmy along this, like I don't even know, what would you describe that as? Like this landing almost, this really skinny landing as she shut the door, and this thing is like, she had to crawl through a doggy door to get out to this. Then this thing is like busting through the door, and she's like climbing up this stairwell that gets like super, super skinny in this really tiny door at the top. Which, what I found fascinating about that is, like, I was reading online, people were like, this feels like when you're getting chased in a dream. Like, it was so scary because it felt like you just can't outrun this thing. You're in a dream, and there's no railing on this long stairwell that's going up. You have to use your hands and knees, and if you fall off, it's just a straight drop down into the nothingness, and you have to crawl through this tiny door. So anyway, she does that, and interesting. Here we go. This is where it gets really interesting. She pops out of a almost perfect copy of the furniture store. She runs up the stairs.
And it was close.
Very, like, eerily close. That's the closest that thing had come to anything replicating wise. So it goes up. She goes up to the first floor where she's still getting chased. The thing comes up with her. And when she gets to the top, there is one of the cavemen standing there in the middle of this room with all these rocking chairs, or these what would you call those? They weren't rocking chairs. They were what do you call those? Like seats that you can, like, lay back in, like in your home. Why am I blanking on what those are called? They're really comfy. It's
a lazy boy.
Like,
that's a label. That's the brand.
Not, I guess, there are lazy boys. Recliner. I could not think of the word recliner.
Oh wow.
Literally could not think of the word recliner. All these recliners are surrounding in the center of this room. She tries to leave the store. There's another wall because it's the back room, so she can't leave the room. The thing follows her and circles her around, and she's like trying to fight it off. And as she's doing that, she's tripping over everything, and she knocks over the caveman mannequin. And
stupid.
Yeah.
Stupid.
How stupid. But no. An alarm goes off, and all these canisters that were surrounding the center of the room just start spewing this white substance. She tries to run. She looks up, and she sees this crevice in the wall, this really thin crevice in this wall. And as she's trying to make her way to it, she gets sprayed in the face by a canister, and she passes out. Only to be reawoken with the thing on top of her. Big boy, fake Clark, is on top of her, trying to kill her. And she pulls out a piece of concrete that she had from the beginning. We'll talk about what that is. And she starts beating him with it. It seems very convenient now because I've left that detail out. But trust me, we've seen it before. Beats fake Clark. And this is what's interesting. It bleeds.
Mm-hmm.
I remember before, when Clark opened up a still life, it was just that fleshy white stuff. This time, when fake Clark or monster Clark is getting beaten in the face, it's bleeding. She fights it off. She runs up and tries to get through this tight corridor, literally like chest and back are touching two sides of this wall, like really tight. And she looks back because fake Clark is like reaching for her. It's like trying to grab her, and she almost seems sad. Like she almost feels bad for it. But as she's like working her way through, she gets to the end, and out comes an async researcher in the hazmat suit. It just sprays her. Yeah. Just sprays her. And they're freaking out. Another hazmat suit dude pulls him back. It is like, they're like yelling and arguing. Like, what is that? What is that? And he's like, it's a dude. And like, they're like, you can kind of hear them, but they're like talking about like, it's a person. No, it's not. Like, they're like going back and forth. You could tell they're having this discussion. Long story short, Mary is brought to async. She has found the threshold. And she is brought into an interrogation room after all these MRIs and they're obviously trying to see, they don't know where she came from. They don't know how she got there. They just know she's there and she come from the back room. So they're doing all this research, put it into an interrogation room, and out comes Phil. We've seen Phil before. Phil is an async researcher. We'll talk more about Phil after we get through this. Finally, there's the interrogation where he describes that async was once an MRI machine company before they discovered the back rooms, and now they do what they do now, which he did not specify any further. And essentially, bro is just trying to get anything out of her. He's like, I go in there every day and I've got nothing, but this is the most important information or the most important discovery in all of history. And I just need what you know. And essentially, Mary was like, I'm not getting out of here, because Phil straight up admits, that's not my decision to make. But essentially says, I know just as much as you do, and you've been researching this for as long as you have. And it's confirmed. She's like, yeah. And thus ends the film after we see a Backrooms version of Mary at the interrogation table. In, like, face is messed up.
In the back rooms. Like, it's a
Backrooms.
poorly made room.
Copy.
And she's a copy. Yeah. Which some were insinuating that, like, oh, she died. That was it. Like, she's a copy now. And I'm like, no, that's not what that means at all.
There is another theory that the real world is the Backrooms. That, like, it's just the bigger, broader Backrooms. Is that she never escaped.
Mm.
And so I find that to be fascinating.
I don't think so. I think there'd be more things off.
There was that, and like I also think that, like, she's near the threshold, which because this also goes back to the theory of, like, or the fact of the matter is that, like, Clark's furniture store was copied perfectly, almost. And the only thing that the Clark's furniture store and Async have in common is that they both have an open doorway. So I think it doesn't just have to be in the back rooms. I think as long as there's an opening, it can take information from what it's essentially looking into. Because if that doorway's open, who's to say it doesn't look both ways, right? Like, something's not looking back at you. And I think that what was happening is, again, if we go back on the theory of, like, strong emotion, if you knew deep down that you weren't getting out of there and you had just survived this crazy experience and you're essentially getting told that you will be, whether the rest of your life is long or short, you're probably going to be hidden because people don't want this information getting out about what the backrooms are, that's a pretty strong emotion. And I think that with being near the threshold, the backrooms being able to see in and seeing her in that state, I think that's why it copied her. And that's why it was so negative. And because it was far enough that it couldn't read the room, it only could get the basic layout in her at the table. Because Phil wasn't there either.
Right.
So,
but Phil's also been in there. That's what I was wondering. Is, like, you have to go in for it to read your memories, or
yeah,
that's what I thought it was.
So I want to go back. Look, well, first, what do we think after all that? Like, that's the end of the movie. There's more key details that we're going to go over. But Jake, what did you think?
For someone who doesn't know the Backrooms, like, I thought it was with a deep dive, and like I can comprehend a 3-minute or 3 hour deep dive and be like, okay, this is where we're at. I kind of understand. Like, I kind of already knew, because I was big into, I guess, Gmod and that side of things, where I already knew about the concept of what the Backrooms was. So it wasn't hard for me to understand from a Stranger Things side that there would be a company trying to research it and open holes and things like that. Like, I think it's not that far off from that idea. It's just a matter of we finally know in the end of Stranger Things, like, what the Upside Down is and how it was created and stuff like that. Whereas this is, like, it's fresh. Like, we just have no idea. And I don't think we're meant to know everything. So if you haven't seen anything, you probably won't like it. Like, it'll not land higher than halfway. Like, if it was out of 5 or out of 10, you'd be shooting for a 5 out of 10. I think if you didn't know anything, be like, what the heck did I just watch? But I think if you know something, like, this is a great addition to what YouTube has and all the other media. People will be deciphering this and deep diving this movie for a long time, for a while, probably the rest. There will be deep dives on this movie for the rest of the year. It'll fill my YouTube as well as Ryan's, I would assume. So I'd probably, am I rating it right now, or? Well,
don't rate it just yet. I want to get through some other details and talk just a few more theories. We're almost done, I promise, ladies and gentlemen, with the Backrooms review. For what it's trying to be, I want to go back to the top and just be like, look, as a psychological, luminal horror and thriller, this was perfect. As a continuation of the series, I loved what it confirmed, and I loved what it added to the story of what we already knew. People can survive in the Backrooms for long periods of time. People can go back and forth from null zones if null zones are strong enough. Like, these are cool details. It is, in fact, trying to recreate things that we only had theories about. It is trying to copy. but it just isn't getting it right. It's just messy. It's just missing certain details. Things bleed. Like they bleed blood. Others don't. Why? What are these? It's just so fun. And it's really just a think piece. What is the Backrooms? What does it like specifically for me? The biggest think piece about it. Why does it copy certain things about people versus others? And it really seems the common thread is that when you're in the most distress or when you have the strongest level of emotion, specifically negative, that is whenever it copies, or at least that's when it's leading to copy. Because again, Phil hasn't really had a lot of negative emotion connected to the backroom, and he's not been copied. But Mary did, but Clark did, especially Clark. So yeah, I find it fascinating that that's a common thread. Going back to Mary, because there's a lot of important details. Actually, I'll just do Phil really quickly because he's easy. He was the guy watching the original Async researchers footage who died. You see him at the very beginning, like watching from Async from the safety of his little office. But you see Phil again because after, and this was a point I made to Jake, I feel like he had this reaction so strongly because of something I'm going to say here in a second. You see him on his day off, and he's watching TV with his kids. He popped a bowl of popcorn, and they're watching probably a movie, and he sits down on his couch, and the commercial that Clark and company had been filming earlier in the film comes on his screen, and he, like, leans forward. Because he had seen Clark when Clark is originally in the Backrooms, and he's looking up at that CCTV camera. He sees, like, obviously Clark doesn't see nothing but a camera, but we know now that Phil saw Clark in real time. Obviously, that would be a reason to react, as if you saw a guy in this space that he shouldn't be, obviously like this detrimental to humanity type space, and you see him in there, and then you see him on this TV, and you're like, oh my God, I know who that is. I think he also, because remember, they set up a trap for this thing in the furniture store version of the Backrooms. I think they had found the furniture store version a lot longer. Like they had known about it for a really long time. Enough to know that fake Clark, that monster Clark, was roaming around to set up a trap for it, to study it. Because at the end, whenever, like, they have captured this thing and brought it to the real world, they have fake Clark, monster Clark, wrapped in what looks like bubble wrap, just in a room studying it, right? They knew enough of and had it long enough, the furniture store, to set up that trap. I think that Phil didn't just recognize Clark. I think he recognized the furniture store and put two and two together.
Mm-hmm.
I think he realized, oh my God, that's why. That's why he's getting in through the furniture store, and that's why we see the furniture store. And so, anyway, big detail, and I think that's why all those things connect. Now getting to Mary. We see Mary's childhood a lot. The film actually starts before we see Clark in the therapy office. We see a child with her mother putting a handprint into freshly paved or freshly laid concrete before like rubble gets dropped on them, and you realize it's a memory. And so this is Mary's childhood home, and you see a lot of her childhood, specifically two instances where throughout the film, just kind of laid sporadically throughout before Mary gets into the Backrooms, that she was in this house that we had seen, that we later see has been copied multiple times, which I think further proves my point. It's negative emotion because it's been copied so many times. But Mary as a child, she's in this room, and there's moldy food, and there's all this furniture piled up against the door, and there's this newspaper packed against this window. And she goes to look out the window, and Mary's mom runs up and says, I did not tell you could do that. You cannot look out the window. You cannot open the window. This big emphasis on, like, it's dangerous out there. The window cannot be opened. Hence, whenever Clark says, I've opened the window and I'm not coming back, that's a big deal, right? Like, and then the window motif of the mural on the wall, and there's a lot of window stuff, as if a window is an opening somehow to like a deeper understanding or to the Backrooms. I asked this question to Jake. Do we think Mary grew up in the Backrooms somehow?
Dude, don't ask me. I'm kidding. No, I don't think so.
Was it insinuating that her mom knew something about the Backrooms?
No.
So then why? Because I feel like it was. I feel like there was, because again, the common thread between the two places that seem to have gotten copied, whether it's the interrogation room in Async or the whole furniture store, is the opening. It's open and negative emotion can flow through and it can copy. If we saw, which we did, all the copies of her home, as a child, would that not indicate that there was an opening in her home?
No.
Jake
I
says
don't
no.
know. I say no.
I think there was. I will put that out there.
No.
No. So again, we'll move on from that, but I'll put that out there. I think there was an opening there, and I think the mom knew about it, and I think that drove the mom crazy because she didn't know what was real and what wasn't after spending so much time down there. Hence why she blockaded themselves in and covered up the windows, because she's like, if that's fake, then is this real? And that's what caused her psychosis, which then got her in a mental institution, which we saw in the film as well. We've talked about Phil. We've talked about the window motif. There's sun imagery. For those who know Backrooms, Kane has a lot of sun imagery scattered throughout. Jake, do you have anything else about the sun imagery? That was a Easter egg. You saw the sun. We've seen it a couple of times, and there's a big theory about what the sun could be. But anyway, more than just bleeding Clark, there was bleeding tables Clark mentioned, which was interesting, but we don't know what that could mean. So let's see here. Let's look through our questions. Here we go. Last point. Sorry, I'm going through my notes here because we've jumped around a lot and talked about a lot of stuff I had listed already. There's a lot of parallels between Clark and Mary, i.e., they're both very alone. You both see them using substances. They don't really talk a lot about Mary, and you don't see it but once, but she hides herself in a room at what seems to be a party after looking at a child that obviously reminded her of herself, and she opens a bag of some pills, takes it, throws the bag away, and swallows it. Parallels to Clark's alcoholism. Both are alone. When you see them outside of the therapy session, Clark is in a bed in this open display room in his furniture store because he doesn't have a house because his wife has it, watching TV. Mary's doing the same thing, watching her own commercial on late night television in her own apartment on her couch by herself, being alone. This common thread of them both being alone. I pose the question, do we think that Mary was throwing what she was throwing at Clark when Clark was going crazy, talking about you never take anything for yourself, like you always blame everyone else? It's your wife, it's your job, it's whatever. Do you think she was talking about herself a little bit too? Do we think that maybe she saw herself? Because those characters seem so similar, and that could be why there's so much that
I think it's the
aversion.
opposite.
You think she sees who?
I think that she blames herself.
Interesting for Clark's.
I think it's the opposite.
Describe.
They're alone for the opposite reason, which is I don't know. Like, that's what I think. I think that she's got the trauma and she's got inner burdens that prevent her from, I guess, living normal. Whereas he's the opposite, where he blames everybody else, which prevents him from. And that's why he prefers the back rooms and
she's terrified by it.
And yeah.
So you think
because that's like home.
She internalized it and blamed herself, and he externalized it and blamed it on everything else.
Yeah.
Fascinating. I just think there's so many parallels between the two, and I think there will be more with these characters, especially Mary, and I'm really interested to see how they continue it. Jake, anything else you want to say?
If they do.
If they do, yeah. I think they will do a sequel. Anything else you want to say about the Backrooms before we give it our official BTS rating?
Didn't have a lot of like music that I remember. Right?
Yeah, from a technical
soundtrack
standpoint,
was limited other than the light sound that you need in a movie.
From a technical standpoint, shots were held for a very long time. Like especially with like shot reverse shots, like they didn't go beyond a couple of angles. Very simplistic, but I feel like that's what it needed to be. Like you were living in that space, and the horror is of being in the space. So there's no need to do fancy cinematography, which the cinematography is still beautiful, but you get what I'm saying. So in the score, was that done by Kane Parsons as well? Because he's a musician. He does make music too. I'm pretty sure it was scored by him, which would be just another, not like just rung on his belt, because like, wow. But anyway, beautifully done. A lot of silence. Technically, it's very sound. Practical. A lot of the stuff is done practically. I'm happy you brought that up, because that is a big portion of the movie that I really liked, is how everything was done practically. There's set shots of him on certain things. But anyway, Jake, give us your review.
Hold on, I'm talking to Emily to see what what film reels I have to choose from because we have graphics that we have. We wait till the very end to rate it for you guys. And she says anything between 1 and 5. And I say, really? So 1.445687?
No. We have
percentages?
from 2.5 to 5.
I got it at 3.5.
Describe. Tell us why.
I think after sitting on it for a weekend, I want more than, and it's not from a fact that like I don't know. It's the curiosity of the async. Like I want to know more on that side and what they're truthfully trying to do in research. Like how are y'all researching? Like what? Come on,
Yeah.
you know. But like also I wanted a resolution for a therapist.
Mary.
It's either Mary. I was gonna say it's either Mary or Emily is what I was about to say. But so Mary, like I wanted a somewhat of a resolution, like kill her, show that she's doing something else, or I needed, because a lot of people think the still life of Mary. That was the metaphor, and I was like, I don't think that's the metaphor. I didn't get that. I didn't get that like, that's what happened to her. It's like, no, that's not how that works.
No, it copies you. You can't become.
Yeah, right. So it's like, yeah, I don't have. I don't know. It could be better in this from the opinion of somebody who did follow Backrooms for the first 5 to 10 years that it was being crafted. But with Kane Parsons having a Bible, I'm very hopeful for the future because there's a book of everything Backrooms that nobody knows about or what it says or anything like that besides Kane, I would assume. So
yeah. And if you like this, like I want to go back and rewatch like not just the breakdowns, but actually like the entire YouTube series too. And if you enjoyed this, I've left out a lot of details. Like I've left out a lot. You know, like go and watch the YouTube series that led up to this, the Inception, all the way through on Kane Pixels. That's the YouTube channel, Kane Pixels. And there's just a lot of fun, just hidden stuff, and it's very fascinating. All done by Blender, all done with royalty-free stuff, like in captured footage, like ray tracing, a lot of really cool stuff. It's an artistic endeavor in and of itself to just watch. It's fun. But you said it best, and the reason that I gave it the exact same score, I had it in my head what I was going to give it. It's a 3.5 out of 5. It's so good. It is above average. There are things that could make it better, but for what it is perfect for what it's trying to be. It is spooky. It's luminal. It is the ambience in it, the sound, the scoring, the lack of, it's so well done in the shot composition to the practical effects. It's fun. So go watch the rest of the Backrooms in terms of the series as well as the movie. And the reason that it's so high for me, I know it's not a 4 out of 5, which, listen, a 3 out of 5 is fantastic. Like that's like a 7 out of 10 on a 10 out of 10 score. So 3.5 out of 5, I think that's a perfect little area for it because there's so much more. Like this is something we would revisit after we see some more definitive answers. We come back to see how it connects to everything else, and it might go up. Genuinely, like, oh, this was a perfect little bridge to get to where
people say that rewatching it is will do wonders on how you perceive it. And so I've only seen it once, but I could see how like a second watch would boost a score.
Especially when you know more later, like when more story is told. So 3.5 out of 5 film reels for the Beyond the Screen, the official review. So fantastic film. Kane Parsons, a great endeavor, first endeavor into the filmmaking industry. And go watch the Backrooms. Just enjoy, have fun. There's longer videos, like 45-minute videos is the longest, and it's a full-length found footage style, really interesting. But yeah, that has been our Backrooms official Beyond the Screen review and deep dive. So thank you guys so much. We're not done yet. I know we're really long. We're gonna do this very quickly. We're gonna go through our quick hits, what you should know before you go, coming up right next. Welcome back to Beyond the Screen. You've made it to segment 2, segment 3, which is as always, what you should know before you go. These are the headlines that populated our feeds this past week, the biggest and the best from around Hollywood, but didn't really need a big breakdown. Just a quick 1 or 2 sentences gives you what you need. We give you our thoughts. We're going to do it very quickly, or quick hits, what you should know before you go. Very quickly, I'm going to do what I always do with this part of the show, which is thank you so much for being here. This is insane that you allow us to do this week in and week out, and that you come to us for our opinions, and we give you the breakdown so you don't have to read it online. We read it for you. And so it's fun to just react. It's fun to talk about it. It's fun to do the research, and it's fun to do it with these two beautiful people, Emily and Jake, right here. Emily, again, is behind the scenes pushing the buttons. So thank you guys so much, you two here with me right now, for allowing us to do this and for being a part of the show. And for you at home, thank you for just watching, for participating. There are things that we want to do that we hope to add to the show with more user engagement, which TBD on that. Pay attention. I think it'll be a lot of fun. But anyway, with that out of the way, like, subscribe, follow, comment, rate, do all of the things from every platform you could imagine, from iHeartRadio to Spotify to Apple. Are we on Amazon too? I think we're on Amazon as well. Amazon Music or whatever, Amazon Podcast, whatever it's called now. Yeah, Smoke Signal. On YouTube, obviously. Watch.
Morse code.
Listen. That'd be crazy if you listened through Morse code and it did that.
92.5.
Right. The dog. But anyway, just radio. There was a radio. Kid you not? I think it wasn't 92. I think it was 96.8. But for my hometown, it's called The Dog. There's a country music station. Anyway. Anyway, let's get into the quick hits very quickly. We'll get you out of here because we're already well over time. First, with what you should know. We have a Minecraft Movie 2 news. It's official. Everyone's favorite film, video game adaptation from last year. We know it's getting a sequel. It did too well. It almost made $1 billion. Well, they're back, and we have information. The film is officially titled A Minecraft Movie Squared, with the first look at Kirsten Dunst as Alex revealed. Matt Berry is also confirmed to return after voicing a villager in the original. In his official return promo, he is seen getting fitted with a turquoise shirt familiar or similar to Steve's iconic look. Hero Brian?
You're supposed to be a hero, Brian. I like
white eyes and all
that.
Mind you, Barry was originally cast to play Steve before Jack Black joined the ensemble. There's a theory online that I'm really partial to, and I hope this is it. The theory is that Black has been Hero Brian the entire time, and that Matt Berry is the real Steve, and that's what this is going to show. Like, it's going to be a big twist in the sequel, is that like Matt Berry is actually Steve and Jack Black is a villain.
I am Steve. Dude, you think he'd lie?
Yeah, I think he would.
Water bucket, release.
Listen, it's another one of those movies. You do not go watch a Minecraft movie for a literary experience, a character study, and an art house film of the deepest magnitude. You go to watch it because it's dumb. You go to watch it because it's dumb. And I low key, that would be crazy if Jack Black was actually the villain. He was actually Hero Brian, and Matt Berry comes out and is like, "I'm actually Steve," and everyone's like, "Oh!" Like, that would actually be kind of cool. That'd be a cool little twist. In the promo,
I don't think it's gonna happen.
In the promo, Matt Berry's like, "This is not turquoise. You expect me to dress like Steve?" Like, it's obviously they're very on the nose about what he's doing. Matt Berry will probably end up being Hero Brian. Like let's be real. Like they're not gonna do that to Jack Black, but that would be a really cool like twist. The hero's actually the villain.
A vampire in other shows, so
Matt Berry
tracks that he could be evil.
He's one of the funniest actors ever.
You think we'll go to the ether?
Yes.
You think?
Yeah.
I mean, if we're traveling into the Herobrine territory, we're going to be going into the ether, which is the glowstone with water portal. Yeah. Or whatever they're calling it. You know what I'm talking about? So it's like the Nether. I think they've already been. Have they not? I don't remember. If they haven't, they'll go this time. But the AETHER ether was something that it was like you would prank your little brother that exists until they like build the portal the same way as another portal, but you build it at a glowstone and then try to light it with a bucket of water. and there were photos like online circulating where it was, I guess, photoshopped or somehow modded a nether portal to look like the ether portal, and that's what you would prank your little kid with.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think if you, and Herobrine was like a fake. It was either
Steve.
photoshopped or somebody was wearing a skin or something like that.
A
and it was like a
creepypasta
creepypasta.
Minecraft. Yeah.
Yeah. So if they're gonna do that, then you got to also have that. And then among the other things that this is like a long time ago. This is like
there's so much fan service yet to be done.
Yeah.
Is where we're at. I'm excited. I'm excited.
Chicken jockey.
Never thought I would be saying that. I'm shaking and crying RN.
You didn't even watch the first one.
No.
I didn't either. Bro's excited to watch the sequel.
No, I'm excited. Well, I'm gonna watch the first one, but like now that I see what's kind of going into the second one, like I will probably watch the first one just to see what it's about, and then watch.
That's just because Matt Berry's in it.
I love Matt Berry. I do love Matt Berry. If you've ever played the game or watched a playthrough of Thank Goodness You're Here. It's so funny, dude. Matt Berry he plays oh gosh, I think he is not a farmer, but he like is an old man planting vegetables. And anyway, just go watch Thank Goodness
Sounds
You're Here.
invigorating, bro.
It's so funny, dude. It's so funny. And if you know anything about, like, if you've not heard Matt Berry or don't know Matt Berry, you've heard of him because he's got such a distinguishable voice and he's so funny. But anyway, moving on. IMAX has reportedly pulled premium screens from The Mandalorian and Grogu after its terrible second weekend performance to make room for Masters of the Universe, which is what I was talking about earlier. That's why I think Masters of the Universe will come first. Jake says no. Reportedly, Simon Kinberg's who's known for writing various films like in the X-Men franchise, like the newer ones, so like Days of Future Past and Dark Phoenix and whatnot. His upcoming trilogy in the Star Wars universe could serve as episodes 10 through 12 in the Skywalker saga. Although it is important to note that insiders clash over whether this trilogy is a new saga or not, and Lucasfilm and Disney are remaining silent. So this really could be anything, but people are speculating that that's what the trilogy is going to be. Why this? I don't want to say that. That's so mean. Simon Kinberg does not have the greatest filmography. Days of Future Past, good. Let me double check. Let me read through it here because I looked through it earlier and I was like, oh. Simon Kinberg. I just want to have it in front of me. He's attached to, so he did Dark Phoenix, not great. He did 355, which I've never seen, and Invasion, which I might have heard. But after that, he did Apocalypse and X-Men The Last Stand. Both of those were not very good.
Says you.
Apocalypse was meh, and Last Stand was, I remember as a kid thinking it was okay, but like I watch it, but like I don't remember it standing out. Days of Future Past and First Class, which I think he wrote both, are both phenomenal. I'm looking for a writer for these. But yeah, both of those are fantastic. First Class is really good, and specifically Days of Future Past is really fun. But he's attached to a bunch of other, like he's attached to the New Mutants, which was not great. He's attached to probably an episode or two of the Twilight Zone remake from 2019. I'll put it this way. I thought there were more. He's an Academy Award nominated or a writer who the Academy Award that he was nominated for was Best Picture. So he apparently is tied to The Martian. I guess he might have helped write. Let me see here. Let me make sure that I'm getting this guy's full breadth. Going to his IMDb. Just looking at the very quick result, like returns for when you look up Simon Kinberg, it's like, oh, these are not like. So The Martian is, and apparently, did he write Logan as well? It's on here. Hold on. He is not. He's not in the writers on IMDb. At least the first three. So I don't think he really wrote that one. He might have produced it, but he is attached to The Martian as a producer. Logan as a producer. Okay, here we go. He produced Days of Future Past and the 2015 Fantastic Four. So he's got some hits.
Yeah.
But he also has some misses. I'm going through here. I just thought There might have been. I don't know. I'm just not really very comfortable with his name attached. He's better as a producer, I think. Yeah, a lot better as a producer than a writer. But anywho, at least from what I see on his filmography. Any thoughts, Jake?
Don't be crap.
Please do Star Wars justice. Anyway.
Not going to happen. Ryan Gosling's going to be the last good one.
You're so him.
I'm him. If I have anything to say about it.
Moving on.
You've never seen me and him in a room before.
Stan Lee's voice and image has been sold to 11 Labs to be recreated by AI for future appearances.
Tracks.
Can we let the man rest in peace? It was like revealed that he was treated really bad at the end of his life. Like, this just feels like more exploitation of a man who just wanted to rest. And I don't like it.
Who sold it? Let's cancel.
Probably the estate, but...
Yeah, cancel.
And lastly, we officially got our first look at Nicholas Holt's return as Lex Luthor in Man of Tomorrow. I have this in here somewhere.
1A! 1A!
Bro, it's just... There it is. It loaded in.
Where's he at?
He's in the suit. There are images where it's a lot closer.
I know that. Where is he at?
Don't know. He's just in the suit, man.
What an asshole.
Here. Oh, whoa, wrong one. Sorry, fellas.
Fellas. He's in the suit. He's in the suit.
Yeah. It's that one. There we go. That's what
No, duh. I see him in his fishbowl.
That's like a super comic book accurate suit, by the way. I really like that.
Yeah.
Like, I really like it.
Right.
I could not be more thrilled for this. I'm so excited. I'm happy to be excited for superhero films again. That's what I'll say. Spider-Man comes out in a couple months. I have not great hopes for Doomsday, but I'm hoping that it does well or that it is a good film. But like, I'll tell you, I'm very excited to see what Supergirl is like and like the true follow-up in terms of big screen experiences to Superman. And this has me even more excited. The idea of a more comic book accuracy, Lex Luthor, because Nicholas Hoult just knocked it out of the park. So I love that he's gonna keep returning. Like, I love that he's gonna keep being a common piece, and he just plays.
They're gonna team up.
Yes, and like, which is such a cool dichotomy and dynamic. So yeah, very excited. Any final thoughts, Jake?
I'm not.
Jake's not excited.
I haven't seen the first one.
Yeah.
Hey, what are you gonna do?
Judge you because that one's so good.
Not go see it.
He's not gonna see it, guys.
I am gonna watch what Ryan's recommending.
Yeah, I was about to say, don't you take this away from me. I'm about to start it, and we're doing a recommendation of the week to finish out our show, and with that, I am recommending with highest regard because I've only heard the best about it, and I want to hear your guys' opinions while I'm watching it. The recommendation of the week is Spider Noir. Go to Amazon. I would never want to say that normally. Go to Amazon and watch it in black and white like God intended.
I'm seeing people say first 3 black and white, 5 and 6, 4, 5, and I think 6 in color. And then the last 2, you can do whatever you want.
Heresy.
People are saying that is the definitive way to watch it. People are saying that you have to get into it with the black and white and then enjoy the colors and the set design and the costumes. And then you can do whatever you want after that.
You can still enjoy set design and costumes without color.
But you can't, the thing is like, I didn't believe Dad, but he watched it in color by accident for the first 2 episodes because he watched it not on Prime. And it was in full color. He's like, I didn't know that it was black and white. And so we watched it in black and white for the first 2 episodes again. And he's like, you wouldn't believe it, but he's in a bright red suit.
Spider-Man?
Like, no, one of the characters.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, really? Because it gray. You know?
Yeah.
Versus Nicolas Cage, who's in like a darker gray or black suit. And Dad's like, you wouldn't believe it, but he's in a bright red suit and a hat. Bright red hat.
Watch it however you want to, but it's literally Spider Noir.
So, but what I said is what definitively, at least on the social media side, is 1 through 3, black and white, to get the feel of noir, and then to enjoy the middle. Because I told you, Ryan, I have seen it. I've seen 4 episodes. 3 really feels like the end of an arc. It felt like this can't be the end. There's like 12 episodes, right? 3 honestly felt like it tied knots together, but it still continued after 3. That's why I think that they wanted you to watch 1 through 3 in black and white, and then you can watch in color for the next 3, and then the next. I guess there's 8 episodes. Yeah, so 3, and then the last 2 you can do whatever you want.
Do whatever you want.
Whatever. He's not going to listen to me. Anyway,
that'll be the end of our
I'll
show.
watch Chainsaw Man. I don't care.
I will be doing that as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, do the whole thing. My shirt has said touch grass this entire time. I've caught it at the bottom of the screen, and the G and the R are constantly cut out from my mic like that. And I thought it was hilarious, but I didn't want to comment on it until the end of the show. That's it. That's all we got. We love you. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you guys next week in the next edition of Beyond the Screen. Bye-bye.